8 serial marriages. What I know of her came off of a lot of non-existent sites. Now, an Indian woman, her first marriage was to Alexander Burston, a Métis born of a native woman. The second husband of 8 of an Indian woman was a native man named Joseph de Chevigny la Chevratier, son of Christophe la Chevratier and Joseph Messier. The third husband of 8 of an Indian woman was John Linklater. Of he, she had 3 children. Of Alexander Burston, 2. Two children of La Chevratier. One here and mentioned by name we'll look at after. The fourth husband was Thomas McMurray, whose daughter Jane McMurray married Cuthbert Cumming prior to marrying Suzette Mackey. The fifth husband of 8 of an Indian woman was a Frenchman named Joseph Moreau. Their daughter, Marguerite Moreau, was the wife of Joseph Flamand Fee, son of Joseph Flamand Père, born of a Cree woman in the Northwest Territories. And of that there is more to say hereafter. The sixth husband of 8 of an Indian woman was Michel Rainville, and their their son was also named Michel Rainville. The 7th husband was Malcolm Ross. Their daughter Clemence Ross married John Moore from Orkney, Scotland. And their son Thomas Moore had wed Elizabeth Mackay, etc. The 8th husband of 8 serial marriages of an Indian woman was Peter Rampey of South Carolina, who was also married to a woman named Elizabeth. His father was Nicholas Rampey of Germany, and his mother's name was Catherine, her also of Germany. Nicholas Rampey of Germany was the son of Andreas Rampey, whom had been married to Maria Magdalena Spiezert, daughter of Theobald Spiezert and Anna Maria Dressler. The mother of Nicholas Rampy, the wife of Andreas Rampy, was Elizabeth Spiezert. Andreas Rampy was the son of Paul Rampy and Anna Maria Riet of unknown origins. Paul Rampy being the son of Christian Rampy and Margaret Sonnenberg of unknown origins. So that is an interesting woman. None of the men themselves are outstanding, though some of her children seem to have married well enough. Most notably, daughter Marguerite Moreau, who married Joseph Flamand Fee. He mothering Louison Flamand, the father of real activists at Potash. Of note with Peter Rampy of South Carolina is that he, of an Indian woman, being the 8th husband of 8 serial marriages, sired Joseph, not Joseph, but rather Peter Rampy of South Carolina sired John Rambo, who married Darky Davis. The husband prior, Malcolm Ross, was the father of Clemence Ross, whom married John Moore, a Scot of Orkneys. Their son Thomas Moore had married Elizabeth Mackay, whom next wed John Richard Mackay. The Mackay family being strongly representative of the Red River Métis and that colony of people. For example, Elizabeth Mackay was the daughter of Mary Bunn and William Mackay. And John Richard Mackay was the son of John Mackay and Mary England. The name Titamag is mentioned as a wife of John Flavel. That again is a very strong Red River Métis tie. This is all first French family. And standeth out are the names Guillaume Fournier and Francois Hebert. Francois Hebert being the daughter of Guillaume or William Hebert, and Helene Deportes, the first white girl born in Canada. So those 4 individuals are members of the first French family of Canada, without which there is no Canada, as relates us so much as we are a people born of a pioneer and colonial heritage native to the soil, wherewith of time to yet come about, we will discuss the fact that there be them of us whom have ancestors wholly Quebecois or wholly Anglo, whom livest amongst the Hurons and whatnot in Huronia as natives, fully accepted and recognized as First Nations persons, not so much foreigners. Some of these even going so far as to become great leaders of the White Huron dans la Paz de Huronia. And some view of the Abenaki clan mothers. So we see here that through her second marriage to Joseph de Chevigny-la-Chevratier, their son, their daughter, Josephette de Chevigny-la-Chevratier, had a relationship with Pierre Toussaint Lucier, son of Christophe de Lucier and Marie Reine de Mares of Quebec. Toussaint Lucier was the son of Pierre Toussaint Lucier and Josephette de Chevigny-la-Chevratier, and his wife was Louise Brazio, and her mother was Louise Legan, who had married Brazo as one of 3 serial marriages. Philomene Lucier, the daughter of Louise Brazo and Toussaint Lucier, had been married to Joseph Nolan Sr. Also noted here as a resistance participant or resistance activist, his wife being Marianne Gaudry. Joseph Nolan Sr. was the grandson of Jean-Baptiste Nolan, who fought on the British side at Michilimackinac in the War of 1812. The wife of Jean-Baptiste Nolan, whom here be the grandmother of Joseph Nolan Sr., was Marie Angelique Couvert, daughter of Marie Charlotte, an Ojibwa woman, and fathered by Joseph Victor Couvert. Joseph Octave Nolan was a member of the Legislative Assembly and also a resistance activist, according to the yellow mark on this, or the orange mark on this page. Joseph Octave Nolan, Joseph Nolan Sr., Auguste Nolan, and Helen Cameron, Andre Gaudry, Marie Madeleine David, all grandparents of Joseph Octave Nolan. Those were not resistance participants, though Toussaint Louisier and Louise Brazeau were. The daughter Philomene Lucier is not listed. Perhaps she was dead. Joseph Nolan Sr. and Marie Marianne Gaudry were resistance participants, as was member of Legislative Assembly Joseph Octave Nolan and his wife Marie Villeneuve, daughter of Hélène Lavallée de la Plante and François Lafourche Villeneuve. And perhaps we should note that, François Lafourche Villeneuve was the son of Augustin de Villeneuve, Lafourche de Amiot, and Marguerite Prue Clement. Hélène Lavallée de la Plante was the daughter of Suzanne Lefebvre and Antoine Pierre Laplante de Lavallée. Other resistance families be Louis Lafontaine and his wife Marie Madeleine Pelletier. Her, the sister of Julie Pelletier, resistance activist, wife of Maxime Flamand. Of Boggy Creek, brother of Alexandre Flamand of Boggy Creek. All resistance activists. Here we see some Métis heritage we will look at directly. The Pelletier family hereby be married with one of the Azure girls, Pierre Pelletier being the son of Antoine Pelletier and Marguerite Sautus. And Antoine Pelletier closely related to me in so much as we are sharing relations with the family of Marie Charlotte Mandeville. And her father, Jean-Baptiste Mandeville, and her mother, Catherine Berard, and Michel Pelletier, the father of Pierre Pelletier, the husband of Marie Charlotte Mandeville. And, of course, the mother-in-law, François Menu, the wife of Michel Pelletier. They are all strongly represented in a furtherance of our family's inclusion into the unexplored wilderness surrounding what was at one time the wilderness occupied by savage Indians. Many of those families of which I am married into through my ancestors. And of course, that being a little bit different than the first French family, which is more associated with Quebecois and Nouvelle France, whereas the Métis culture is more concerned with the Red River, the Northwest Territories up into the Rocky Mountains. But as I said, there is that whole Great Lakes history and the history of the forts in an era long before the Great Divide, where the medicine line separated our family into Canadian and American. Whereas before that, we really didn't have any names for what was God's land, I suppose. So, enough of that one. I guess that'll go in the trash. Got a lot to go through. This is nothing. So be we ye God child, Darcy John Bouchard, of our sacred blue ever virgin, and of a church triumphant and unworthy bastard. A 13th, 14th, and or 15th generation descendant of Claude Bouchard de Petite Claude, son of Jacques Bouchard, a hemp-dancer of France, which is to say he was a rope maker and a sail maker, i.e. the hemp weaver. And these are a list of his children, or the children of Claude de Petite Bouchard, whom was not an engagee like most of the folk whom came to Quebec, rather financing himself along the way as a terre de habitat. Most all the others, including his close friend Julien Fortin, both men recruited by Giffard in the White Horse Inn, Percheron drinking establishment. They signed on to voyage and people the New World. He had, I think, 12 children that had children in Canada, or so. His first daughter, Marie Félicité Bouchard, was born 1705-1129 and died 1757-1216, age 52, at Bay St. Paul. Her first husband, Pierre Perron, son of Antoine Perron and Marie Jean Tremblay, Langardien, Quebec, him born 1706-08-09, died also at Bay St. Paul. It seems they had children, but her second husband, Louis Tremblay, not much is said, but a question mark. I'm a direct ancestor of the second of 12 children. Jean-Baptiste Noël Bouchard was born 1707-06-11, about, and died 1760-01-13 at Petite Rivière. He had been a lieutenant de milice at Bay St. Paul. His wife, Marie Catherine Tremblay, the Tremblay family name is another Quebecois staple. Her born, or her family of Petite Rivière, Charlevoix. Her daughter of Marie Fortin and Etienne Tremblay, Sir de Ebloumont. Marie Catherine Tremblay, born 1717-09-28, died 1818-05-01, age 92, at Bay St. Paul. Their son Francois Xavier Bouchard being my forefather, and we will deal with that directly. The third child of Claude Bouchard was Marie Catherine Bouchard, born 1709-06-19, died 1710-05-02, 10 months. Rest in peace. Antoine Bouchard Fils, born 1711-02-22, died 1776-07-03, age 65. Again, Antoine Bouchard Fils, born 1711-02-22, died 1776-07-03, age 65. He had been the husband of Marie Jean Gagnon, born 1712-05-02, died 1776-12-10, age 64. Their child, Godfrey Bouchard Père, is an important person in my patriarchal ascendancy, and so much as his son George Bouchard, born 1811-02-08, died 1873-08-03, husband of Athalie Saulnier. My connection to Acadia. Not much is known of he. Excuse me. The fifth child of Claude Petit Bouchard of Bay St. Paul was Jacques Bouchard, 1713-0103, died 1772-0516, age 59, Capitaine des Milices, dans l'île aux Cartier, Québec. Leo Coudre, Charlevoix, Québec. His wife Louise François Rousset, 1724-0724, died 1795-10-19, age 71. They did have children, but are not related by blood or genetically linearly delegated. The sixth of the 12 children born of Claude Bouchard of Bay St. Paul was Marie-Madeleine Josephette Bouchard, born 1714-1114, died 1793-1030, age 78. And her husband was Pierre Jacques Allard. The seventh child of Claude Bouchard was Joseph Bouchard, whom married Marie-Françoise Charlotte Fontaine of Bay St. Paul, her born 1727-08-27 circa, died 1783-03-13 circa, Petite Rivière. The eighth of the 12 children of Claude Bouchard was a daughter named Marguerite Bouchard, 1720-03-11, died 1799-08-09, age 79, at l'île aux Coudres, Quebec. Her first husband was François Leclerc of Saint Laurent, Ile d'Or-Yvelon, Paz, Quebec. Born 1730-12-12, died 1815-10-22, age 84. Her second husband, Joseph Tremblay, son of Louis Tremblay, I reckon. The ninth child, de Claude Petite Bouchard, now of Petite Rivière. Can't read that. Her name, though, is Emerence Bouchard. She was born 1722-04-01 circa, died 1744-05-30. Her husband having been Francois Perron. They had children. The 10th of the 12 children of Claude Petite Bouchard was born Petite Rivière. Michel Bouchard, 1725-08-11, 1789-11-19. His wife was Marie-Louise Tremblay. Louis Bouchard was the 11th of the 12 children, born 1729-05-17 circa, died 1780-11-16 circa. His wife, Marie-Françoise Dufour of Ile aux Coudres, Quebec, born 1739-12-27 circa, died 1815-06-12 circa. And the youngest child of Claude Petite Bouchard was Rosalie Bouchard of Bay St. Paul, Charlevoix, Quebec, born 1735, died 1804. Her husband being Etienne Simard, another of the very populous families. So, I reckon to do with my patriarchal origins. We don't want to read a single page out of order. And I just pulled this out of order. Just looks more interesting. It says Vandal ancestors. Yeah, here we see the name Mary Charlotte Vandal again. This time the name is associated as the wife of Antoine Vandal, the son of Jacques Vandal by his first wife, Marie Antoinette Beaugrand-Champagne, the daughter of Antoine Beaugrand-Champagne. I should say the daughter of Marguerite Plouffe and Antoine Beaugrand-Champagne. Have a long-standing tradition or a deeply rooted heritage in the Quebecois or the post-colonial Quebec before the British conquest. This family is very strongly leaning or married in with other Quebecois families, and we find less often any marriage or intermarriage with the First Nations families, because these people were the townsfolks of those hamlets and villages and towns which grew as the era of forts diminished, and even more so in the advent of the coming of the Northwest Mounted Police into what was still the wilderness. I don't think we'll delve much deeper into this one at this time, if ever again. As I said, we're exploring these papers because I can't keep them anymore, having received 2-year notice to move, but where to? I'm very poor, and even if I do find another single room occupancy dwelling such as this, the rent will be exorbitant, because here our folk have been treating us well. Though we have but a short while left here, some 700 plus days or 24 months, that doesn't mean there'll be any more room open to us in the future. So that's why I'm going through my papers and attempting to upload my books, wherewith I might be free to explore some of the sites our heritage created. I don't want to die like Mr. Sampson in front of my computer. Mr. Sampson was a great Canadian. Canada betrayed him. They sold him out. As is this be a chart associated with my mother's father, whom was the great-grandson of Captain John William Fiddler, one of the 19 elected Dunsian leaders at Batoche during the resistance. Albeit another of our blood kin whom had been elected Exovede leader was more or less prone not to be so excited by Riel's ambitions. Here we see Captain William Fiddler is the grandson of Peter Fiddler of Beauchemin. So my great-grandpa George Fiddler, my mother's father, the grandson or great-grandson of Captain William Fiddler, was the grandson of Peter Fiddler of Beauchemin, whom was an important person of historical value to Canada. And you can find a lot about him online. His wife was Mary McGagon of the York Factory, Swampy Creek. York Factory was above the Red River settlement. It was where the Hudson Bay boats came in and dropped supplies off and picked the furs and whatnot up. It was on the Hudson's Bay. Her husband was the chief of the McGagon, or her father was chief of the McGagon, so she was a princess. The names of Peter Fiddler of Beauchemin's relations are all of Europe, in England, He was the son of James Fiddler, the son of Samuel Fiddler, the son of Jasper Fiddler, the son of John Fiddler. The wife of John Fiddler was Dorothy, of unknown origins. The wife of Jasper Fiddler was Elizabeth Ludham, of unknown origins. The wife of Samuel Fiddler was Sarah Oldfield, of unknown origins. The wife of James Fiddler was Mary Glossop, not as said of her. Is mentioned, though, is brother of James Fiddler, John Fiddler, and his wife Anne James. We see here of note the mother of Captain William Fiddler. Captain William Fiddler being my mother's father's great-grandfather. So it seemeth here that he was also present at the Battle of Grand Coutu. And that was a great fight with the Sioux. Dumont was there as well, so they must have both just been children. And here, that distinction is shared with Brother Antoine Fiddler. Brother Antoine Fiddler mentioned in relation to the fact that he is married to Julie Caroline McGillis, the sister of Marguerite McGillis, the wife of Captain William Fiddler. Nancy Black is the daughter of Marguerite Savoyes Christie Sato. And there is some discussion on her hereafter. Her father is said to be Hudson's Bay Chief Factor John Black of Scotland, of the Council of Assiniboia, and also of the Convention of 40. Those I will not talk about today. The mother of Marguerite Savoyes Christie Sato was Nancy Ann Thomas, daughter of Nilmish Mary Indian, sired of a man called John George or Thomas Sr., Signor of Vaudreuil or Vaudreuil, him the son of John Thomas and Margaret Indian, him chief factor and governor of Assiniboine. We continue discussing Marguerite McGillis, who is the great-grandmother of my mother's father. George Fiddler. A man whom lived and died free in Canada. Marguerite McGillis is the daughter of Marguerite Bottineau, whom is the daughter of Tehoma Good, an Assiniboine Indian woman of the people of the Hare Hills, Adiksong Hub, called Clear Sky Woman, or Marguerite Makakwezans, Songabo Kichita, of the Reindeer Clan of the Red Lake tribe, whom at one time also married Peter Grant. The Grant family we may get to talk about, which would be fun. Yes, in simplicity is complexity. The husband of Take Home Good, a Assiniboine Indian woman, mother of Marguerite Bottineau, was a voyageur hunter by the name of Charles Joseph Bottineau from Boston, Massachusetts, born circa 1750 at La Rochelle, and involved or mentioned in the Lewis and Clark expedition. Although I have mentioned it in other places, both plausible parent groups, here is listed the father as James Bottineau and the mother as Susanna Faneuil, French Huguenot, the father of James Bottineau being Stephen Bottineau, and his wife was Marie Audouin. So that is what is said of them. But of course there is much, much more to be said if we were to go in depth into it, yet we will just summarize these charts here forthwith. The father of Marguerite McGillis, great-grandmother of George McGillis, my mother's father, was a man named Alexandre Jerome Giraud McGillis. And he was a Métis, born of Marguerite, not in a cabin that the boot, a Fort William, Ontario, Ojibwa woman. Angus Jerome McGillis, the father of Alexandre Jerome Giraud McGillis, was born in Tyrone County, Johnson, New York. And his father, Sergeant Donald Ban Moore, or Big Fair McGillis, whom was a member of the King's Royal Regiment of New York, Royal Yorkers Regiment, had come thither October 1773 aboard the ship the Pearl, a British Navy frigate, being involved in the American Revolution on the side of Britain. And so being had to exit New York and went to Glengarry, Ontario, Upper Canada, as one of the many United Empire Loyalists to do so then. Them being from Inverness, Scotland. The wife name being Mary McDowell of Lundy, daughter of Ranald McDowell of Lundy. So, there you have it, a little more about me. This one's called Beaugrand-Champagne and Cartier, Pelletier. This is a very important chart that I have noted online. The importance of this chart being in that it describes genealogically the absolute closest possible human relation necessitating or bringing about what became the Canadian identity. And all true Canadian persons must, in one way or another, have a blood tie to this and other important genealogical organs of the Canadian identity, and thereof the Canadian identity in its evolution, its growing, its troubles, its pruning, its nature. Most notable is it that the Pelletier name is foremost of those names. Not here mentioned, but elsewhere mentioned are the names of Guillaume or Dion, and that too is perhaps an even closer relation. The name Monaghy and yet Monaghy, those stands out in both cases. Okay, this is a really important chart. I know not where to begin. It saith here, imago vitae suae, the image of his own life, wherewith we are talking of Jean Coutu I, Seigneur de Reims, husband of Catherine de Feo of France, the parents of Antoine Cateau de la Valtrie or Peltrie, the husband of Marguerite Pateau Equier de Corbie, also of France, the parents of Francois Couteau or Coutu de la Valtrie, a Kerrigan Sallier, who married Jean Verdon, daughter of Genevieve Pelletier and Vincent Verdon, the son of Marie-Jeanne Mottes and Francois-Jacques Verdon, Genevieve Pelletier, the mother of Jean Verdon, the first wife of Francois Coutu de la Valtrie, was a sister of Francois Pelletier de Tontea, both being the children of Nicolas Pelletier, master carpenter, a hero of the Indian Wars, the husband of Jean de Voisy, the son of Francois Pelletier and Simone of France. Francois Pelletier, the son of Guillaume Pelletier of Jeanette Monhy, Pierre Pelletier, the father of Guillaume Pelletier, we find here the grandmother of Guillaume Pelletier as Marguerite Collineau, and her husband as Le Pelletier. There are sometimes in genealogical records that record keepers invent names. The father of Jeanette Monaghy was Johann Monaghy, and her mother is François Cartier, the daughter of Johann Lamoine, wife of Jean Cartier, the son of Jean-Jacques Cartier and Guillemette Baudon, and the grandson of René Cartier and Michel Bouvier. I mentioned it not. The sister of Guillaume Pelletier, husband of Etienne Monhy, the sister's name being Michel Pelletier dit Le Pesle, was married to Jacques Paradis. Marie-Louise Cateau Couteau, 1684 to 1735, was the daughter of Jean Verdon, as described, and Francois Coutu de la Valtrie was her father. He was a patissier or a confectionery and a master butcher. Like that is a mix. In Quebec, it doesn't say where. So her husband was Antoine Beaugrand de Champagne, and that would be my ancestor. The son of Jean Baptiste Beaugrand de Champagne and Francois Guignard. The son of Jean Beaugrand de Champagne and Marguerite Sanson Penniston. The son of Bartholomew Beaugrand and Perret Bongar. The parents of Francois Guignard being Pierre Guignard d'Alon Delcourt and Francois Thiers, daughter of Catherine Tully and Guillaume Thiers. The parents of Pierre Guignard, Charles Guignard, and Jacques Quandrel. So there be the humble beginnings of what I might call a Royal Canadian lineage. I'd be part of that. I don't know how much time has passed. Maybe this will be the last one. I don't know. This one's called Vandal, Beauchemin. When you look at it, it's definite to see that it is a resistance activist's name chart. All those orange smudges are families that experienced the events which transpired throughout the interior in 1885 when the bankers took over. This be one family. There are at least 4 generations, and a heck of a lot of these lists of children's names, which we won't read. Given green stars are Josephette Deschamps and Jean-Baptiste Deschamps. Josephette Deschamps was the wife of Pierre Pelletier de Assiniboine. Jean-Baptiste Deschamps was the husband of Elizabeth Allery de Henry. And we see here she was the mother of Madeleine Deschamps, wife of Napoleon or Noel Turcotte. The Turcotte family also being represented by cousin Norbert Turcotte, husband of Josephette Lepine, daughter of Maxime Lepine, who had been or was a prisoner of 7 years. So that was a good Exovede family. Thus we begin with Antoine Vandal and Marie Charlotte Mandeville. Isn't that something? And there'd be a big green star, so we won't be able to carry on. We also see on this side of the page on Henry Monroe Fisher, son of Captain Henry Munro Fisher and Madeleine Gauthier de Verville. Him, the Henry Munro Fisher, the husband of Margaret Laframboise, one of the more noble of the Exovede families. And here as well, getting the Green Star is Andre Millet Beauchemin and Charlotte Pelletier. Not having a Green Star is John James Hughes and Nantushi Corbeau. Of course, now I know much different about that girl. It's amazing how you spend 30 years thinking that someone is just a bum, and the next thing you know, they're rather much more noble than that. We see here that Pierre Vandal, the son of Antoine Vandal, Antoine Vandal and Marie Charlotte Mandeville, married Charlotte Hughes Corbeau. And that is one of the very much more important Ojibwe Dakota bloodlines, originating in the Powhatan bloodlines associated with Pocahontas. The eldest son of Pierre Vandal and Charlotte Hughes Corbeau was Antoine Vandal de Matches. Not only was he active at Batoche, but he was one of its greater heroes and greater inspirations to us men who survived him. Their children were children of the resistance, if not active in the resistance. It says here that the wife of Maurice Henry Honore was Blandine Ross, and she was the daughter of Exovede martyr Daniel Donald Ross and his wife, the heroine Catherine Delorme. The reason she is a heroine more than anything is that Daniel Donald Ross shot Captain French, whom was in one of the conquered houses in Batoche during the Battle of Batoche. French was much loved by the Canadians, whom very much mourned his every little injury, much less seeing him lay there dead of an Indian bullet killing him. And a hail of shells murdered or grievously wounded Donald Daniel Ross, and as he lay there, his poor wife, who had run to his side to cry as he died, was roughly treated by them, despite them showing Boucher and he some respect when it came time that she threw them off, you know, get the hell away, because she was in tears. And in that strength, the image of that strength, you know, she is a heroine of the Battle of Batoche. Antoine Vandal, I think, had both his arms broken after the battle, which is to say that the Canadian thought it befitting and humorous to break an old man's, for he was now in his 80s, I think. They broke both his arms, that he be no bother to them, much less any more. Isabel and Antoine were also the father of twins. His brother Jean-Baptiste Vandal and sister-in-law Marie Primo, the wife of Jean-Baptiste Vandal, were also resistance activists, as were some of their children. Now, some children were not anywhere around. We're talking about free peoples who widely roamed a fenceless wilderness, where we were all yet somewhat capable of communing in the animal tongue, or what is commonly or basically referred to as the common tongue of nature. If you were alone in the wilderness and you heard owls and animals in the dark, you would soon listen and learn how to speak that language. It's inherent in us, especially us Canadians, not just Métis and Francophone, but because of our Solutrean origins, more than anything. Here is mentioned the martyr Joseph Lapioche Vandal, died 14 May 1885 at Beaugrand. When I was a little boy, I played on the graves of the Indians at Battleford and put my pinky fingers and little fingers into the bullet holes of the church and other buildings at Beaugrand. Let's call it there. See how this goes.